And hello, Shannon. Hi,
Hello,
everyone.
Sasha. Hi, everybody,
Good afternoon, good night, good morning, wherever you and what
wherever
time,
you are.
whatever
Yeah.
time you are watching us. And a very exciting topic about that. And very exciting or excited week behind us.
hmm Yeah. The topic that we talked about last week stirred the pot a little bit.
A little bit.
A little bit. A lot.
how, how then it looks like when the pot is really stirred up.
It was a massive mixing bowl of opinion soup, right? Like we
Yes.
got a lot of opinions and thoughts and reactions to the content we shared because I think this is a new way to look at a dog's behavior, right? So we were talking last week. If you weren't able to join us last week and you're here, we're going to continue this topic to break it down a little bit more. But we're talking about a dog's behavior and how you get your dog to have good behavior. Well, traditionally, a lot of us are taught obedience training, right? And what Sasha is an expert in is what we call harmonic resonance, which is really getting the behavior you want from your dog by being in more connection with it, right? And being a leader with your dog, learning how to be the right leader that helps elevate their behavior through pure love and harmony, which is this harmonic resonance of respect and leadership and protection. And I mean, I'm going to let you talk more, like
My
kick it
God,
over to you on that.
you
But the
nailed
difference,
it.
okay. But it's kind of mind blowing when you haven't really thought about it yet because we're so taught. And it makes me cringe last week when you talked about what it actually does to a dog when we're shutting them down by these older tactics of obedience training. And when you really think about it, it makes so much sense.
Mhm.
So I'm glad we get to continue on it this week and talk about it a little bit more so everyone can, take it in again and think about it through that lens again and see, how they can understand the shift of getting their dog to behave. It's a more evolved way,
Yeah.
and it's a healthier for their dog, it's healthier for the family, all the way around. It's a win-win.
Yeah, because eliminates, first of all, keeps us constantly present in a moment of responsibility. That our dog's life depend on our responsibility to lead, to provide, to protect. That's all
hmm
what the dog is looking from us. And if we do that, we don't need any kind of modification of the training, modificational or obedience training, because the dog will naturally gravitate to its state where he feels the most safe at. And that
Right.
would be in the environment, responding to those three things.
Lead, provide, and protect.
Protect, yes. Lead,
Okay.
provide, and protect. And then from that perspective, when the dog feels that there he doesn't have any other responsibilities than to follow. And then there is nothing, because when the dogs behave aggressively, when the dogs react on anyone or anything, it's a reactive behavior towards responsibility that they feel they have to protect the family, to protect the owner. They attack other dogs or other humans in order to, because they are reactive to the danger that they see is the danger. Because why? Because the dogs are left with the illusion that they need to protect. They are
Right.
protectors and they are
That,
providers.
that
And
makes
by
a lot of
take
sense.
Yes, and then we have this. I mean, no, yes, it makes lots of
I know.
sense. It's kind of
Well,
like,
can I pause here for a minute though, for everyone following? So if we talked about the origin of wolf last week, right? And so dogs are pack animals. So when they join our family, they're part of our pack.
mhm.
And if they feel like there's a clear leader and they're going to be led, provided, and protected, then they will behave accordingly because all they don't have to worry. They don't have to stress about where they're getting the food. They don't have to stress that someone's not in charge, that they have to become in charge
They're gonna
and
follow.
protect. They're going to follow.
They're gonna follow because that's the natural way of the dog is to follow. And then when we provide environment in which the dog follows, then they don't make any decisions. And when they don't make a decision in order to, that's very important. So the willing decision need to be, I'll follow because I am provided, led, and protected.
Right.
That's
Wow.
all what I need to do.
This is so much like human relationships, though.
Yeah, that's where I said, like, keeping us focused and in the present moment.
Yeah.
And because there is no time, there is no moment for failure. And then because the dogs, thank you. For example, this is a right way of interaction. When the dog, for example, the little Henny just barked.
Your dog, yeah.
Yeah, he barked because he heard something out. Okay, so now the extensive barking, it's the dog is warning us that possible dangers is out there, right? And there is a way to deal with the excessive barking when the dogs bark excessively. Because why? Because no one is making any reaction to them. The people don't follow the lead. So what would be the right reaction on the dog's bark like this? He just
you're thanking him.
Because the hen is already led into this environment of communication with us. So he barked a little bit like poof. Okay, and then I thanked him for doing his job. Okay, so he warned me. I said thank you. If he would keep barking again, so once again he barks after that. Now I need to make an action. And now I need to go and see what is he warning me about. So if he would keep barking on the door, I would need to stand up from here, stop my live, go in front in between him and door, and release him from worry, telling him, it's okay, it's now, I'm done. So now from here on, I did my motion and I did a movement. I didn't bark, stop barking, don't bark,
right.
Don't
I was getting ready to say that, yeah.
What I gave him a responsibility. He's a dog, and he's here to give a leader sign that we might be under some possible danger. So what I give to the dog is respect of his duty, and I tell him thank you. If he keeps doing it, then I need to do a leadership action, which means, okay, now I need to go there and see what he's warning me about. Then it's important that you physically step in with him and door, and look at wherever you want to look. If it's a window, then look through the window. If it's a door, just open the door. So you need to mimic. You need to gesture it. You need to extend especially when you are training and when you start communicating this language to your dog. You need to do everything very dramatically. So there is no misunderstanding of anything you do. And then I would come in between him and doors and look through how you say that little thing?
The peephole.
There you go. And I said, it's okay. So first is a thank you.
So you acknowledged it by checking.
Yes, it's okay.
Yeah.
And from there, I take on. If he barks again, then I would take him slowly without any attention, no words, no nothing, and I'll put him in another room. I'll exclude him from the pack so he can think about what he did to cause me doing that. Because for any pack and social animal, the worst punishment and the worst pressure that gives us a possibility to think like, what did I do here to cause my leader to separate me from them? So I would put him in wherever. We have this little room. Not that we use it because he doesn't need it. We used it once when we were in a hotel traveling from Iowa to Florida. We were in a hotel and he really barked. And I said to him, thank you. And I woke up and I said, no. And then I got back to bed and he barked again. Then Vedran woke up. He took him in the toilet and let him there for 5 minutes. Then you go there, you open the door, you let the dog back with no words, no eye contact, no nothing. And you gave him a chance to think.
Yeah.
That was the last time he barked inaccessibly to a door. And then from there on, there is only two of these things. He barks a little bit, I thank him. He never continues. But if he would continue, I would go to the door in between him and door, say, it's okay. And then if he would continue to bark, that he doesn't, I would put him in a timeout. So he thinks about why he was excluded from the family. Because in the nature.
I get it though. But I just to pause on that though, you talk about this and it comes really natural for you. But when we talk about leadership, I mean, a lot of us have to learn about leadership, right? So even with kids, when you're correcting a child who can't talk or like tell you what they're afraid of or telling you what's going on, you have to instinctively be able to, like guide them or course correct if something behavior's not right. It's a little bit similar to, but you have to learn how to lead a dog.
Because that's actually how the consciousness is elevating. Consciousness comes with awareness, and awareness comes with a learning process. Like we need to learn, and then learning the truth actually that we are all connected to. This what I'm talking is not. It's forgotten language. It's a language of the nature. It's a language of the wolf pack. It's a rule of the pack. This communication exists in a family too. When someone rings and the mother is busy doing something, the kids will, oh, mom, someone is ringing, yeah? Mm-hmm. And then if someone keeps ringing and mother is still busy, and the kids would come and say, oh, mom, someone is ringing. But then the mom goes and checks on that,
Right.
The kids doesn't let anyone in the door, or through the door. So so this is all so natural. Then when the people come in the connection with this knowledge through the programs and protocols we have in place, first they are shocked how simple it is, but then also they are shocked how hard it is to implement them because of the lot of layers of conditioning that we are told that we need to condition as we were conditioned, and then we need to train others to obey as we were told to obey.
Yeah.
And there is actually, but when it comes to a dog, as we talked last time, if you use a positive reinforcement and then you take away the stimuli, the enforced behavior tends to,
go away
and then go away back to its origin, right? Back to the state of where the problem of the behavior, whatever the problem of the behavior is. The other way is to enforce the behavior. So we use any form of tactical tools like that prong collar was to provide a level of impulse.
It's like a punishment, though.
I kind of like people complained about it's a great tool, it's this and that, we used it, it's worked, and things like that. But when but that tool doesn't use anything else than enforcement of possible pain if the dog misbehaves. So pain doesn't necessarily need to be strong, but it's on a very critical part of the dog's body. And then when the dog pulls and it hurts, the dog will stop pulling, but because he's afraid.
Right.
He can remember, but that's again, we are going to the trauma. He can remember, and then you can put any leash on it. And
then you're leading by fear, though, not by we're like that as humans. You have a leader that cares about you, that thinks about you. You want to support them. You want to fall in line. You want to work together. You want to do what's expected. When you have an authoritative, dominant kind of leader, then that's shutting people down, and a lot of people will rebel, or either they freeze and shut down because they have to do that, or they get punished, or rebel.
We just need to get this to the psychology of the child behavior. That's your specialty, and also through the family constellation therapy that I'm a therapist for, it's kind of like something that goes naturally, as a lot of traumas of us, like in older age, comes from us repeating constantly, reacting to the environment based on forgotten traumas that we experienced in the childhood.
Right.
When you this is not a criticism to any trainer. It's not me talking about this with any source of rather than respect for the hard job that everyone is trying to do out from great love. That's very important here to understand. But when you are enforcing anything, right? Enforcing anything in order to create an outcome of the positive behavior, we need to have here try to, okay, this can be a test for everyone that works in this field. When you explain how the dog reacts when faced with a fear, try to see what answer you're giving unconsciously. 99% of the people, of the trainers, will say in this order: fight, flee,
Why? Yeah.
freeze.
Right.
But that's not a natural order of how it goes. In the nature, the animal, and that's what children would do, but let's focus on the animal. In the nature, every animal faced with any kind of danger first
Freezes.
flee.
Flee.
Try to run away.
Try to run
That's
away.
the first. Try to run away. That's the first thing that would happen in the nature. When facing the fear or danger, every animal try to flee away, fly away, right? If they can't do that, then they'll freeze. Try to avoid conflict.
Right.
Because any conflict in nature is potential danger to death. Because they either gonna kill or be killed, or injured to the level that they might end up dying, because then in the second layer of being attacked, they're gonna be killed. So because the children and the dogs, that's what usually happens to the children and to the dog. When we are small and we are under any kind of attack, facing fear, we can fly away from our parents. Neither the dogs can flee away from their owners.
Yeah, no, I think that's why it's such a great analogy. And when we as doggy moms and dads think about that, it isn't a big leap. It makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
And that just like you can do cognitive behavioral therapy with humans, it might work to change an action, but like you said, it can eventually wean away when you don't have the same reinforcements. But a different way to look at it is this approach, where it's coming at it from a whole different angle of why they would respond the way they would to have a positive behavior.
Yeah. So
the love, respect, and like they feel safe, they feel loved, they feel provided, protected for.
And that's all they want.
What do they have to worry about?
That's what
kids want too.
Yes,
I mean,
it's so simple. And as we said, like here, the kids and the dogs are too small to fly away. They don't know where to fly away. They won't fly away because the humans are their pack leaders. It should be a leader, right? So we are not running away from leader. We are too small, or oftentimes too small, physically small. And often dogs would feel that way, that under this pressure, I can't attack my owner, neither protect. That's also, the kids can't attack their parents, right? Because they are too small.
Right.
And then what's the option left? To freeze.
Yeah.
And then we might have, you have those pigeon moms that prepare their girls for the beautiful pigeon contest, and then you need to
pageant. I thought
pageant.
You were saying
I'm sorry,
pigeon
no,
pageant.
no. I my English accent.
No,
so
it's
pageant
good. It's
contest,
just your accent.
right?
I got it. I knew what you were saying.
Now, they want their girls to know everything, to walk perfectly, to kind of like play a piano, and then go to the English lesson and French lessons and things like that. And then we become obedient to all of that. With what should we do? You listen to everything that they tell you. But as we said, like on that path of conditioning, we actually lost of self. We are on secure, lose ourselves. Yes.
Yeah.
And this movement, this freedom of observing children, and trying not to raise them in any source of just them observing them from distance, and not, of course, helping them become a Superman and doing. You don't go liberally in that as well, like letting everything happen. But if you are well equipped to be an example by living your purpose and your destiny, dealing, the mother and the father, the best way to become the mother and the father is to live your own purpose. And when you live your own purpose in front of your children, then you inspire children to do the same. You don't
Right.
interfere with their
100%.
purpose, right?
Yes.
You
100,000%. Yeah.
so that's with the dogs. It would be much easier because they will never go through adolescence need for to break these cords with the parents. And the bigger distance in between parents and kids is, in a way, I mean not physical as well, in a way of I'm giving you a space. I give you a space to develop the way you are, right? And I'm
Right.
here to protect you. I love you, no matter who you become to be, the president
Right.
or whatever.
Right.
The most.
Well, and
I mean, the most richest person in the world, or the homeless person, the parents love their children the most. And that the strength of the children comes from that knowing that I'm loved.
yeah.
No matter what.
No
I
matter
don't need
what.
to become successful to be
Yeah.
loved by my parents. And
Right.
that's when we translate that to the dog's language, would be I choose willingly to behave, because that's the only way to follow the
Right.
leader that knows which to go. And how to show to the leader how the leader shows those skills, if leads, provides, protects.
Protects.
That's all.
So I know, and I think that's beautiful. And I just think learning more about how to be a leader and making sure you're leading your dog to give him the best chance of expression and good behavior, right? Where you're not shutting them down so they still get a voice, just like you want with your kids. You want to teach them and train them and model and show them how to live, and also not squelch their voice so they have their own unique voice. So our dogs still need expression too. So leading them in this way, which I think you talk about the 4 rituals, is that part of how you learn leadership?
Yeah, that's the
With
only
your
way.
dog?
You need to have enough strength and clarity to enforce those rituals, not to enforce them. Enforce them on yourself, because that's the school.
Right.
Our school is not for the dogs. Our school is for the doggy
for the
parents.
humans.
For the humans to learn canine language.
Well, so Izzy, when we've talked about this before, I think it was fascinating, when you and I met and I was talking to you about my dog and sharing some behaviors, right away there were clues to you of things. And we went ahead and, went on and did the constellation together. And I learned so much, so insightful to understand. But it isn't a big leap. It made a lot of sense to me. I just had never heard it that way. And, now, unfortunately, Izzy isn't with me anymore, but I am so taken back with how subtly you can do things differently, because we love our dogs so much. We want to be able to do the best thing, but a lot of this I think is becoming more conscious to a new way of leading our dogs and loving our dogs. So they do feel loved and protected, and we're leading them right. But I know I would need to learn some of that, because you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, that's the worst thing. The how you say how it goes, the most biggest enemy of the truth is a belief system. So when I believe something, or I need to get my dog trained, right?
Yeah.
And there you have this army of the trainers and well-developed obedience trainings and everything across the globe. And then the dogs yet hurt the humans the most, because that's the reaction we create, and we don't know how to cope with that.
Right.
And when I talk about this, everyone is taking this as it's a butterfly story. It's kind of too pathetic and things like that. No, I assure you that this is really kind of hardcore on yourself, because you need to be disciplined. You need to be persistent, and you need to be. If I need to tell my dog thank you when he barks, and you have those dogs that extensively bark when something's going on to the door. You have people on the other hand going crazy, and then the people are crazy because they don't know what the owner's gonna say. When the landlord gonna call them to say I tried but I can't, because everyone complains. So you are under the pressure on one side. You tried everything. You have those spank collars, and you scream and you do this, and nothing helps and nothing will help. until you do not start showing respect to that animal and give him a time and space to think about when he does something, is he on a way to belong or to be excluded? That's the only thing what you need to give a dog chance to think about. The pack is a set of rules, but those rules are not to be broken for a single piece of a second, because if you broke them, you don't belong. Because
Right.
that's
And
the
if you're not with the pack, then you
that's
risk not
because
surviving.
that's the whole thing. If you don't belong to the pack, you are the weak point. If you are the weak point, the entire pack suffers. So
Right.
if you choose to obey to the laws of nature, then you belong, because you are integral part of the strength of the pack.
Yeah.
And if you see the pack is something that's obstacle of your growth, or you don't belong, then you go out from the pack, creating your own pack.
Own pack.
So that is, so either follow my rules or go out and make your own rules. How the dogs cannot leave humans and go out there and create some other pack in this environment, they are actually bred into. That's where the dogs and the wolves kind of split apart. But the way of communication and the language they talk is the same. So what's the difference there is that the dog don't leave their leaders, don't leave their pack. They try either to take over the leadership position, because the leadership position is not taken away, and no one of humans is responding responsibly, and then the dogs take over those three positions. They try to lead, they try to provide, and they try to protect. And in dog world, in dog mind, that also can be aggression, then biting, all kind of phobias, and you never know which, and then you go out and try to fix the problem of the behavior, where that's only the symptom, that's only the outcome of mistrust.
Well, it's a whole different way of looking at it. Like now when I think back on sometimes Izzy was like introduced to a different dog in our home and responded aggressively and like protected her food and all those kinds of things, I didn't know how to help her. Like I knew there was something going on, but I didn't know what to do to help her. But I get it now in hindsight that she felt a need to protect me for some reason. And so that put her under a lot of stress to feel like she has this job now. There's this new dog in the house and like, I got to protect my mom. And I mean, I hate that I didn't understand that's how that worked, but it's kind of cool going forward, to have that information and understand their behavior is actually communication. They're trying to tell you something.
That's the only thing.
They're not being annoying. They're not acting out. They're like, they're trying to be good to you. They're trying to tell you something. Like even when you talked about potty training, like I thought that was kind of fascinating with the puppy coming in the first 2 weeks that it's separating from their mom, that it's going to maybe go in the house because it's trying to leave scent so the mom can find it. Like that makes sense too.
But
you don't rub their nose in it like we've been taught. You just don't get upset and yell, take them outside and show them where to go. And eventually then learn how to do that.
Just that comes with appreciation, because that's what we do to our puppies. We kidnap them from the mothers and from the litters. We bring them into our home, and immediately we surround them like they are the cutest puppy on the earth, that they belong to us because we bought them for the money or whatever. And that actually, giving them a space and time to grieve. And understanding that they are crying to come to us. Because what they want, oftentimes you would put them in the place, and if you have this little open, let's say one bedroom apartment or studio or something like that. Now you have a dog and you put him in some little box and he's gonna be there, and then in the middle of the night he'll go out and he'll come to your bed and try to pop up or things like that, all those cute things to do. He doesn't want to go to you. What he wants you to do is to take him back to his mom.
His mom, yeah.
And if you fail to deliver there the right messages in the way of behavior, then you will actually set the dog developing a completely different, speaking with the words of human, emotion intelligence to that dog will be very weak. because he will never understand, because that's the point. The moment when the separation in between mother and the litter happens, that's the moment when we get a chance for the dog to develop in the really strong character. But we need to give them a space for that. So they need to grieve enough to understand that that's life with them next to mom and siblings and the leader is done. And there is a new world in front of us.
Right.
And we need like 48 hours for that to happen. But that's usually when you know the canine language, when you know how much pain the little puppy is going through that, then you will understand how hard you need to be on yourself in order to get that puppy space. What does it mean? Just approach them when bringing them food and do not interact with them on any level. Because more you interact with them, more you're gonna spoil them, and don't allow them that time of grief. And that's very important for every little puppy to understand that now is a new environment here and we need to adapt.
Right. And it's safe. And it's safe.
Mean,
I think like if you're grieving, you also would feel vulnerable in your environment because you're hurt, you're looking for your leader, you're looking for your mom. And that would be a little, disorienting and scary, especially when you're a little puppy. So really being present and conscious of how you're treating them in those first moments, days is critical to their development, and then the bond that you're going to build with them too, whether it's fear-based, love-based, safety,
whatever. Because that's actually again mimicking that movement from the mother to the father in the pack of the little wolves. That's very important because in our protocol, the Pure Love and Harmony protocol, we learn a lot about the wolves and wolf behavior, wolf development, and the theology of the dogs as well. So you will get to understand from this distance that we try to bring in the canine way of communication. When I say canine, I mean like canine like canine, right. Canis lupus and Canis familiaris would be like a wolf and the dogs, canine language. Okay, so the canine language would be the same, but that's very important to understand when the movement from the mother to the father in the cave, like in the nature, happen. When the mother is with the puppies until they do not become a certain age, and then pack as well, but the father is very distant still. Right, the father is distant, and then at that one point he would come and go and come and go. His role would be to teach little pups when the time comes how to hunt, how to do this, how to provide, how to protect, right? And then on the how to lead, and then maybe some of the little puppy is gonna grow into a good leader, leave the pack and start his own pack. The others need to know the rules. But that moment when the puppies are leaving the mother and moving towards father, they're in between of nothing.
Right.
And then you have that one moment when mother is not giving them too much attention, but neither father is giving them too much attention. And they need to know then that movement of the nature happens, and I'll explain it a little, maybe more plastical on the birds. The movement happens when both of the mother doesn't accept them. It's not that doesn't accept them. Takes step back.
They give them space.
And the father didn't step in yet. And they are in the middle. What they need to do is grow enough to understand that they need to move towards father.
Right.
And father takes him in the world and teach them how to
survive,
lead, provide, and survive, right?
Yeah.
For example, we know that, and oftentimes you probably seen in some natural movies that documentaries show about the nature, the little eagles, the mother would bring them the food until a certain time. And then she would feed them and she would teach them, and parents are going to teach them how to fly, how to do this, how to do that, and everything. And then suddenly they would bring the fish, but they would not bring the fish in the nest. They would eat the fish 2 trees away from the babies, right?
Interesting,
to push the babies to start living their life themselves.
Yep.
So when we bring, just to connect all of these 3 stories, so when we bring the babies at home, that 42 hours of vacuum need to create. So the puppy gets a natural movement. So the puppy moves towards leader, not the leader toward puppy. That's very important to understand that the father.
Wait, say that again. Say that again.
So when we bring a puppy home, for example, it's very important to understand, but not to get into a trap of the puppy, because the puppy doesn't approach you because you are a leader. The puppy in the first couple of hours and days, right? One day, that you can see that it's not emotional anymore. Now it's real life. The puppy approaches you, so you can take him back to his mom.
Yeah.
And then the puppy tries to do that. You need to resist that. And then the moment the puppy accepts you as a leader, then you take a puppy to the world. Did you understand the movement?
Yeah. Got it.
So that's very important. And
you said that's 48 hours?
Yeah, it's usually
that first 48 hours?
That would be the most. Okay. 48 hours, if you do not mess it up.
Yeah.
And how do we mess it up?
And what do you do if you mess it up?
But because you just actually you can't never recover that time. Those 2 days you can never recover, and you can never reinvent that time, because there is the idea of you took a puppy away from mom and from the siblings, from the pack. You destroyed the entire world for the puppy.
Yeah. And now oh my gosh, there's so much in this though. So this is this is really important in puppy. I would love to talk about this more too, as it applies to, because a lot of people rescue dogs and a pattern's already been established, or how do you do this? I know we don't have time for that now.
It would be again the same pattern.
So when you bring them home,
leaving the old, let them adapt, and let them come to you.
Got it.
What actually happens is that we bring the puppies home or the rescue dogs home, and we don't get whatever. You know how it comes, like we think it's a rescue. For the dog, again, we are coming to those traumatic experiences and whatever goes in, but that's my family. No matter how traumatic for me life in that family is, it's my family. It's my dynamic. And if you take me away from there and you take me to somewhere else, I don't know will there be better or even worse for me. So that's usually why a lot of people from the abusive relationship, they don't move away from them, because it's abusive.
It's what they know.
That's what I know the best. And no matter how paradoxical it looks like, I feel safe, internally somehow. And then even when my son was bullied in the school, and there was a lot of involvement in that, okay, we need to move you to another class. And the moment when it came for him to move from one class to the other, he said to the teacher, no, because and he said, why? He said, but in this class it's too hard for you. And he said, yeah, but I'm used to that already. I don't know, maybe in another class gonna be worse.
Right.
So what you need to do in that period, especially when you have a rescue dog, you need to allow them and to understand that there is a new movement, a new motion happening, and a possibility. And the moment you let your dog approach you, it's meaning that it's welcoming the leader. And it's usually happen in first 24 to 48 hours.
Okay. So and when they come to you, then that's your cue to move forward to introduce them to the world.
Yes.
Okay. I love it. I mean, so really for other dog parents.
And then at that point, you can take them wherever you want.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter how it was. It's like a flip coin overnight. You can take them to whatever world you want to create for them, because now you create whatever you want to create. And then again,
that's beautiful. And that's not that long. I mean, that's not that long to really be present and mindful of this. That's the least we can do for our dogs, is to really be aware of this process and really be devoted 48 hours to give them that chance to grieve and to come to us.
Yes, and that's where the foundation of the strong emotional intelligence happen, and then you actually provide the dog's environment in which they can think, not react, and respond.
Yeah.
And then actually not react, and they respond willingly to that environment. Because you are a leader. And then, to all of these guys that think that you need to be a leader with a prong collar and provide how strong leader you are, so you break the dog, it's kind of like, I assure you that it would be 10 times worse for every one of you trying this to enforce them on yourself. So it's much more difficult to be disciplined and to do right things and let the dog respond willingly to our communication back to them than to put the prong collar and show them who's the boss.
Right. Yeah, it's a complete, I mean, it's so parallel to people, how people like to be led. I mean, when you know your leader or like your coach, right? Sports, as I grew up with a basketball coach, if your coach respects you, sees you, and pulls the best out, like they care about you, you give them everything you got. Like you do your best, you work hard, you do the drills, you do the things because it's because of that mutual love and respect and the safety, all that stuff that's there. And you want a leader like that. So it makes sense that it would be that way with our dogs, especially them being pack animals. Like,
especially, and that's kind of like, that's especially because no one asked you to do. That's the right thing to do. You choose to do it because it's right thing to do, even though no one asked you to do it.
Right.
Because when you have a structure, oftentimes the corporation, especially the startups or whatever, the structure building up, the structure in which the people need to feel safe is the very big responsibility of the leaders. If that's not developed, the people lose trust.
Yeah.
The people lose drive. The people lose all kind of excitement. And the possibility, the who is in charge, usually in our life, turns to be who has the money, not who's the expert or who knows drill the best. And then when you have a real power struggle and fight for power over things that you can't fight, and then you bring some socially and morally constructed norms to that, then it will never survive. And then when you kind of try to make these things happen around you, it's always what you want to do for your dogs is to not ask them to do, but have them do it for you.
Right. Yeah, I love it. It's beautiful.
That's wonderful.
I mean, it's a beautiful reciprocity between you and your dog.
Yeah. And it's the only right way because it's so natural. In the pack, everyone know its responsibility, and
but it's natural to them. It's not natural to us, and that's where we have to learn. I mean, that's where pure love and harmony comes in to help teach us.
Again, I must slightly disagree with you because that's why it's very easy to be awakened within us because it's so natural for the humans too. The humans are pack animals, and if
Yes. And also consciousness, there's levels of consciousness.
Yeah, there are.
We can be conscious to so much, but we are clearly not as conscious with our dogs as we can be. And that's what you're here helping people learn is a new way to understand their dog is through their behavior and create this harmonic resonance, which is very different than obedient training.
Yes, that's what I wanted just to. It's very when I commented on that, when you said we need to learn, humans need to awaken that knowledge because it's an ancient knowledge of the human survival.
Right. Yeah. Maybe that's a better word, awaken. But if you're not awake to it yet, that's what we're trying to do here, right? We're letting people know.
Try to awaken.
And then give them the guidance on, okay, now that I'm awake to this, now what do I do?
Yeah.
And I know as a dog mom, like that's huge to know. And I mean, I think that's what I want to let everybody out there to know. That's part of, your academy,
everything. Like oftentimes it will be emotionally impossible for the people to enforce, even though this seems like it's so easy. It's all love and peace and paradise. And then they start enforcing, learning a protocol and start journaling and going through this journey, and they find it impossible to do, right? And then why it's impossible to do? Because there is emotional embodiment, like emotional entanglement in between humans and dogs. And then when we have tools for that as well, and then where the order of harmony comes in, right?
Yeah.
And then order of harmony, it's very important to understand. It's kind of like we tend to talk about love, how much we love our dogs, and how do we know that we love them so much, it's very important to, how do you define love? What
Yeah.
the love actually means, right?
Well, yeah.
But let me just kind of try to, and then you see, do you want to take me somewhere from here? But I feel like this is something I would just, sprinkle to talk about. When you have this love as a source and force of life, that's very interesting. And I discovered this working with the dogs. Because if we want to incorporate orders of love that are known to the family constellation and that drive and embed in between humans and a family and the consciousness on the different levels, there are the laws that operate within the same species. That's very important. Orders of love operate within the dogs, among the dogs. And orders of love operates within the humans, among the humans. But those two places of the dogs and the humans, their orders of love are connected through the other laws called orders of harmony. So we can love our fellow man and we can love our people around us and things like that. So there where the real love flows. And we need to find a way how to be in harmony with the other creatures around us, including dogs. And then where the real love and separation of the emotional entanglement happen. When I love my husband and my mother and my father and my children and my siblings and my friends, and I'm in harmonious relationship with the world around me, that includes dog. And then the dogs get a chance to be connected to humans as far as they go into that pack environment. And that's very safe space for them to be. But loving the dog with the human emotions is projecting a human's burden to a dog that they can't cope with.
Right.
Can
Yeah,
you-
I feel like that's a whole next episode to talk
Okay,
about.
so I opened too
Really,
much.
because I do. I think it is because that's really interesting because a lot of us probably over love and spoil our dogs, which isn't great for them either. But I do think that's a whole nother episode. Maybe that should be next week.
There you go.
But the training part of it, because you do want your dog to have good behavior to be able to take them places and travel with them and walk with them. So, I mean, I think that's where I want to let people know that are watching this and are having aha moments now, like how they can connect with you and connect with us, right? To learn more about this.
So there is a web page that we are developing, and it's in ongoing process. pureloveandharmony.com. Everyone is welcome to go and visit and see what's going on there. It's a really in-depth understanding of the first philosophy, what's behind this. So it's not a Lala story. It's not a pathetic story about, peace and love and harmony and everything. It's very strict.
No, Sasha, you have like 30 years of experience doing this. And for those of you who don't know,
yes,
you have 30 years experience working with dogs, and your history is like with the evolution of what you've learned in this whole field is phenomenal. And so I do think it's really a blessing for all of us who care so much about our dogs to learn about this, like wake up, like you said, but then connect to learn how we can practice this better. And just like people want to be better parents, but you don't have a kid and you get the handbook at the hospital, right? Like we learn what's modeled. And so if we've learned things and we've modeled things that maybe aren't so healthy, like it's a great opportunity to have guidance on another way. So I know that's more is coming, but I think it's really phenomenal. And maybe this is a good place to stop this week and we can start talking about love next week.
Okay, love and harmony next week. Yeah, interaction in between love and harmony. Because you don't want to confuse feelings. Because oftentimes when that confusion happens, then we get lost in our responsibilities. And the emotionally confused person can't be a good leader. Neither responsible provider, neither responsible protector. And in that moment, the dog loses it. But then again, we can talk about that emotional portion of our entanglement next week, and that will be another story on that.
Yeah, that would be amazing because I know we struggle with that and we mean well. We mean well, but we don't know what we don't know. So
there you go.
To be continued.
The love is an amazing force of creation and destruction. So it should be, because that's a power and the source of life, and it's so powerful that can be. You need to direct it in the right way. Otherwise, it destroys. It's so powerful.
Yeah, entanglement, codependency, enmeshment. Like it's too much pressure, too much
all from
burden.
Point, and its source of it is a pure.
Yeah.
Everyone wants
so
that.
Good. This is so good. It is. It's so good.
Okay, great.
Because I just think it's gonna revolutionize dogs' quality of life, and as we understand this better. So thank you for bringing this knowledge to us. It's great to talk about. I love learning about this.
Thank you for supporting us, because it's not an easy to find a team that's gonna join this journey, because it looks like so out from this planet, and it's really difficult to surround yourself with the people that share the passion and share the share that path in opening to unknown. Because this is a pioneering, this is inspiring, this is thought provoking, and as you saw last week, we need to be open to a complete. How did you call that? Pot?
Stirring the pot.
Stirring the pot. Yeah,
Stirring the pot.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. But it isn't really a stretch, like you said, though. When you think about human relationships and like what we all went through the pandemic, a lot of us woke up on a new level. Even if we were conscious about on a certain level, we got conscious on a whole nother level, and it's still happening. We're still evolving. So as dogs being part of our family, it only makes sense that they need to be included in our consciousness, and it's worth the time and effort to be present and be conscious, so we can show up in the best way, just like we want to do for everybody else that we love in our life.
Protocol, I must tell, protocol of the Pure Love and Harmony is 2-week intensive dedication and persistence. That's all that it takes. In regards, and then in retrospect, is a life that's in the relationship on a whole another level.
Yeah, beautiful. They're part of our family. They deserve that, right? Like they do. They deserve that from us. I love it. Thank you, Sasha.
Thank you, Shannon.
I think we should be talking about the love thing next week.
Okay, there you go. Love and harmony next week in its essence.
Okay, beautiful.
Okay. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful.
Bye. You too. Bye.
See you next.